Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into what Mark Lawrence has named the Baseball Betting Jam on Proline TV. I don't know if we're going with baseball betting or betting baseball jam. I think baseball betting jam probably sounds better. But we're trying to
BBJ, baseball betting jam, BBJ.
Well, either way, it's baseball betting.
Or BJB.
Nah, BBJ. BBJ works. All right, so we're at the Baseball Betting Jam. That's Jim Feist. I'm Tony Mejia, and this is Proline TV. And you're watching the second episode of our baseball betting extravaganza. And the reason why Mark Lawrence wanted it to be called the Jam is because we try to jam 30-ish minutes of information, since we're on no real-time limit. This is the internet, and get you as educated and informed and entertained as we possibly can over 30-ish minutes. Looking forward to what in our preview episode or initial episode was the Monday through Thursday MLB slate, and being that we're taping this on a Thursday and not going to touch the matinees and very light schedule on the first Thursday of the MLB schedule, we're looking Friday through Sunday. So get you ready for the weekend. And baseball's off to an excellent start because it's got a lot of people talking. It's funny that most people are railing against the Yankees for their torpedo bats, and yet they've lost 2 in a row. And Aaron Judge hasn't used a torpedo bat in his life. He says, why mess with what I've put together for the last few years? But Anthony Volpe is certainly benefiting. He's got, I think, 4 home runs now, one even with Judge. But the Yankees did lose to the Diamondbacks. Dodgers still perfect. Padres still perfect. Braves still winless. Jim Feist, how have you taken the first few days of the MLB season?
Well, I think with an answer and a question. I mean, how much does baseball in April really matter? When they're playing 162 games, you can start 0-10 or 10-0.
You'd rather start 7-0 than 0-7. That's about it.
Oh, I'd read. It's like my betting weekend a couple of weeks ago. I lost 5 out of 6 days, and I was down so damn much. And then I had to come back 4 straight days and win a whole bunch back and get ahead of it. But I'd rather be ahead than behind, because you're always wondering, is this streak gonna ever end? Either way. So. Yeah, but baseball's. I'm excited for it. I know we're going to finish up the basketball this weekend in the colleges, and both the men and the women. That's exciting because I'm going to watch as much as that I can. Even though I'm not going to, I will not be here Monday for this show. I'm hoping Andy can fill in for me or someone else. We have high quality people around what we're doing here, so everybody's good at this. And but I'm going to get away for 4 days and enjoy the little bit of the California beach.
Oh, is that where you're going, out west? Oh, yeah. Very good. Yeah. Hopefully the weather cooperates, because the weather's not going to cooperate, from what I understand, on the East Coast a lot.
God.
Be wary of that when you're betting baseball. But yeah, I mean, right now in Florida, where I am, we hit 90 twice this week, so that's a little swirl, man.
Last week we were 91 degrees. Yesterday morning, I woke up, it was 36 degrees. It was raining. It was windy, 50-mile-an-hour wind. Then it started to snow, and then the sleet started to come down. This was 91 down to this is ridiculous. It's crazy.
Las Vegas, every time I see it and I see the strip being shown either for all the college basketball tournaments, or in this case, what I'm watching now, the college basketball crown, where they show the strip, I always associate it with 110-degree weather, because my first trips to Vegas were all NBA related, either with the Summer League or the All-Star game. I think that was 07 or 08. It was all, wow, you got there and instant, the heat just hits you because it's dry heat.
It does.
But yes, it does get cold, and I don't think I've seen rain in Las Vegas. But I've been there over 10 times, but it does.
I'll send you a picture. It happened a few years ago. My house is at 3,300 feet. The strip is about 15, roughly. Mm-hmm. So I'm up here, but there's homes higher, up, maybe 1,000 feet higher. So one day about 6 years ago, we woke up, had no idea it was going to happen. There was 9 inches of snow outside. 9. I said, I've been here 50 some years. I've never seen anything like this. 9. That was unbelievable.
I went to see snow this year because I haven't seen it in a while, and it got up towards Jacksonville, which is just north of me, and into Georgia, and it was one of those weird January or February. I forget. I think it was February 1st. snowstorms. So that goes to show you how little we get it down here. But in the East Coast, we saw snow, and I mean, shoot, it leads the national news, regardless of what our current administration is doing, which isn't fun. And the weather's still the top story. So you see cars crashing into each other. It's nonsense. So definitely be cognizant of the weather this weekend, and we've got games scheduled for New York and Queens. We got Boston's working, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. So we may be in for some delays. Make sure that you are checking your MLB weather. We touched upon that on Monday's show, but certainly that's a staple. You got to check weather every single day you make a bet in baseball. And again, a light Thursday slate, only 5 games, only 2 under the lights. Arizona and New York are wrapping up in the Bronx. Yankees looking to get off the snide behind Cookie Carrasco, who makes his Yankees debut. And Milwaukee and Cincinnati are going at it at the start of a series. Houston and Minnesota also getting started in a series that will take Friday off and pick up on Saturday. But all other 14 series, which we'll break down, not all of them, but we'll break down a few. We'll get going on Friday. And let's start with let's start with misery before we go to joy. Let's start with the Atlanta Braves, who will look to finally get a win. And it looked like they had one yesterday on Wednesday night. And then Shohei Ohtani stepped in the 9th, but they had blown that game by that point. Braves bats finally did wake up and got to Blake Snell early. They had an early lead. And again, Dodgers are undefeated for a reason. Braves are winless for a reason. So you know how that ended. And now the Braves will be favorites on Friday night. Spencer Schwellenbach against Max Meyer. Meyer, a highly touted Marlins pitcher who has been riddled with injuries. So expect to see the Braves at least at a 150, 160 favorite, despite their winless status. But, you probably don't want to back the Braves until you see them get a W.
Well, the one thing, when you have a good team, if you think they're a good team, if you believe in that, it's almost like live betting. Like for example, you get a basketball game, you're taking 6, and then all of a sudden they're way behind, and you're taking 14 live. Well, that's with the same thing in baseball. These teams, they'll go on losing streaks, 5-6 games, won't hit a lot. Pitching will be terrible. Then everything will reverse, and they'll go on a 20 out of 22 or something. And that's what baseball is. It's you got to remember, this is 162 games. All these other sports and football, you're playing 18 to 20. In college, it's less, and then of course 30 in the college hoops. And this is a long season, so you're going to have long streaks. Now you might have the White Sox or somebody like that or Seattle. Maybe Seattle. Well, they're not Seattle. They're the Oakland. They're not Oakland anymore. They're just
the Athletics.
They don't have a city.
We'll definitely talk about them because something interesting happened with them this week. But yeah, look, I think we've gotten to this point in all sports where football guys don't really care about the preseason, and most coaches go with the 2-a-day joint practices over games. The NBA season starts too early. Players don't care until December. But as far as the season beginning, it starts in October. They're really not in game shape until mid-November. So, and now baseball, obviously with the marathon, while they still take a full spring month of March to really get going with spring training, season starts earlier now too. And so you get a lot of these guys working out their issues on the fly. But yeah, certainly. And look, we're going to do a lot of bragging on this show because we're going to do a lot of winning, and I'm a braggart. But at the same time, I'm also cognizant of jinxing. So I will brag knowing that I'm jinxing myself. I went on Twitter on April Fool's Day, and I said, this isn't an April Fool's joke. I'm 9-0 in college basketball. This was on Tuesday. So 9-0 in college basketball on a run because it was 4-0 on the Crown, 5-0 Sunday, and 3-0 in MLB because I only got in 3 bets. I said, I understand that I'm jinxing myself, but this sentence you're reading is a reverse jinx. And sure enough, I lost my first 4 bets in college basketball that day.
Oh my.
including that half-point defeat in the first under that the Crown supplied because there was a foul not called at the very end. So, brag at your own peril, but at the same time, how are people going to know you're good if you don't toot your own horn?
That's it. When you get into promoting yourself, you know you're going to lose. It's just it's terrible.
And at the same time, we're going to be forthcoming when we lose. And I'll tell you what, two things we gave out, and we're going to give out more bets on series prices and games to watch this weekend. Me and Jim will both have one. But I went with the Rangers and Reds over. I said I think I'm going to like this all three games. That was one of my series picks on Monday's show. And sure enough, the first game went over, and the last two games finished 1-0, 1-0. I said it like soccer because that's what it looked like watching it. And so that didn't go right. And then I gave you the Marlins over the Mets at +2-1 on a series because the Mets are notorious slow starters. And it looked really good until the eighth inning yesterday because the team split their first two games. And then the Marlins bullpen gave up a 3-run homer to, I believe, Pete Alonso. Mets won in extras. So that one just escaped. But we're going to try to make money. And, Jim, you were a winner on your
Yeah, I gave up Baltimore on Monday, and that won. But I've been winning every day in baseball, or I had one day where I actually was 1-1. Made a little money because it was a dog. So, but then yesterday I had two first fives. I think I had Detroit, and I think the other one was the Reds.
No Pittsburgh?
Pardon me?
No Pittsburgh on first five yesterday? That's what I went on. False Beans against the Marlins.
I don't remember if I had. I know I was 0-2. That was my first losing baseball day, so I have to bounce back. And I did not have anybody in the Crown, which I now do. And then I have some plays today in baseball, and looking forward to the weekend, of course. But it's an up and down thing, and you just got to ride with it. You got to work every day. There's lots of stats to look at. There's a lot of momentum to look at. But I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in Sacramento. They moved to a stadium. We're not allowed to talk about them being Sacramento A's. We can't say that.
They're not the A's.
There's no foul ground there, and so everything's in play. Everything goes. You foul the ball off, you're not going to put the guy out. So, but that makes a big difference. And what I'm hearing and seeing is we could expect a lot of overs in these games there. And if the bookmakers continue to be slow in adjusting, that's something you should at least seriously look at every day. Of course, like Tony said, we have to check the weather all the time, everywhere. As long as the game's being outside, you have to do that. And of course, the East Coast is getting banged around with the weather, so that's something you have to do.
The Cubs definitely liked it. They won 18-3, I want to say. It was 18-3, 7-4, and 10-2.
There's slightly overs.
Right. All three games went over, so we're 3 for 3 in Sacramento. And look, here's the deal, because the books I thought would at least adjust a little bit and go nines, give us nines. I saw 8.5s. And the fact that, because I did talk to some people that know baseball on that level, on the minor league level, they said, well, Pacific Coast League is notorious for its overs. Even in Las Vegas, they have an affiliate as well. But now you're throwing major league pitching into the equation. So you kind of got to be careful with that. But certainly the Cubs tore up the A's pitching, and we're overs 3 for 3. I don't believe we see Sacramento this weekend because the Athletics are on the road. But is that correct? Let me see, make sure of that. Because now I'm looking for the Oakland, and it's Athletics. Yes, they're in Denver. So if you want to go with your overs, you're relying on Coors Field over Sacramento. The A's will be back in Sacramento at some point. And the other stadium that we need to be on the lookout for, because it's a new one, is Tampa Bay is playing at Steinbrenner Field.
Yes.
And so outdoors, very strange. And that's the closest baseball team to me. So before the Bally's nonsense came down with the broadcast, I got to see a lot of Rays games. There was always watching that, and that experience is the worst in all of MLB. I've been to multiple stadiums, including the Trop. It's terrible. It doesn't even feel like a baseball game, but it is cool to see them playing outside in the sunshine. And the Rays are adjusting really well. They're off to a nice start, and I believe they are home for the majority of April. So they will be on the road this weekend, but you got to keep an eye out for how things play at Steinbrenner Field, where the measurements are not at all a minor league stadium. So, be wary. It's 318 down the lines, 408 to straight center, 385 in the power alleys, and I think even 399. So it's a bigger ballpark. So don't blindly bet the over there like we probably will end up doing a lot of times in Sacramento. But yeah, just be wary of that. That's what this first week of baseball is all about, kind of getting up to speed with all these little tweaks. Hopefully in 2026, we'll have nice robot umps, or at least a challenge system to help us with that end of things. But still, we get to deal with umpire ineptitude for at least one more year.
But we love that.
You love it? I hate it. I can't.
I'm joking.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, that to me, it burns me up that we're okay with human error, knowing how much money is bet on baseball. Like we know that NFL umpires and even college football umpires are inept, but to the level baseball is, where it's you have an opportunity to call something wrong on every play. It's wild that we haven't made a change when we have the technology to do so. So,
well, we're talking about technology. I don't know if they're going to do it or not, but these what are they called? Torpedo bats. Will they outlaw them or not? What do you think?
Well, look, there's certainly players doing very well with them, and there are players that have not. And the fact that Aaron Judge isn't using them, the fact that we see some guys say, I don't really feel like using it, the fact that some teams have used them and haven't been able to reap the benefits, the fact that Zach Gallen struck out 13 Yankees to beat them on Wednesday night tells you, well, you got to make contact if you want the bat to work. So the sport's not changing. We've talked about it when people have asked, do the bats, like I saw this comment on Twitter about how did the Yankees hide this through all of spring training? No, they did this last year. You're just now hearing about it. Just chill out. So in terms of how these bats will go, I think it's going to be very similar to NFL rule changes that we hear, controversial things about for the first couple of weeks, or that you see referee crews really harp down on in the first few weeks, and then it dies down. I'm hoping that's the case. I don't see the Yankees breaking the all-time home run record, although maybe they're on pace.
Well, they could. But like, who was it? Muncy or who was it for the Dodgers yesterday? Used the bat a couple times, and then he went to the regular bat, and he was like not doing very well, and then he got a double. I think he went to the older bat, and he then broke and had turned the game around.
Look, I honestly think for a lot of these guys, even though the technology is designed to make you make better contact, a lot of these guys, it might be a placebo effect.
It gets in your head.
Absolutely. I'm swinging the magic bat like a magic flute, and
wasn't there a TV show like that or something? A movie,
The Natural, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that was it. Yes.
So we're going to see interesting things. This will be one of them, and hopefully it won't be overblown in June like it is right now.
But it does give us something to talk about. See how good that is.
Other things going on this week that have been interesting are teams committing to young guys long term. The Red Sox signed that second baseman Crawford. Padres signed Jackson Merrill to a long-term deal. Looks like a great deal for them. And sure, there's the peril of these young kids getting money so early. But if they've already proven themselves on the big stage and guys vouch for their habits, I don't see why not. And it's certainly fiscally responsible to wrap these guys up to long-term deals in a sport like baseball, where Juan Soto contracts do exist if you're that great.
It's always going to be controversial. I mean, look what happened with Deshaun Watson. You pay him $250 million, and he obviously never put his heart into playing. He just liked the money, and that was one of the dumbest deals in football ever. And when you do it in baseball, it's the same thing. If you start giving people too much money and they take a lot of the incentive away for trying to go out there every day and compete and now you've already won the race, sort of. Your bankroll is, you're there, and your bank account is full, and it's going to be full, and your life is set. Now you're not going to be as hungry. You'll eat an extra hamburger and sleep in a little later instead of going to practice. I mean, it's, you can't change the human psyche. I mean, some people are going to react one way, and go out there and say, "I thank you for giving me this. I'm going to work my ass off to prove that it wasn't a mistake." And other guys are going to say, "Well, I've already got there. I don't need to do anything."
And I think in baseball, you got to love the game, unless it wears on you, or a losing streak or a batting slump gets in your head so much that you hate going to work. And that has happened. We've seen the yips. We've seen instances along the way, but for the most part, it's not like football where you don't want to go out there and get hit once you got your money. Or it's not like basketball where you tear an ACL or your Achilles burns out and you've got a year of rehab. I mean, for the most part, unless you're a pitcher and you've got a year of rehab after Tommy John or surgery, for the most part, you're going to be able to play day to day and continue to love it. So, rooting for those guys. Padres are, if it weren't for the Dodgers, it seems like the Dodgers always overshadow the Padres. They've been having a dream start, 7-0. They will play at Wrigley. Hopefully they get those games in and the weather permits. Cubs are 5-4, which is good for them considering they started so slowly last season. So that's one of the series to watch this weekend. Cardinals and Red Sox will play in Boston again, weather permitting, and that'll be interesting. The Cardinals I saw were drawing poorly, and I think that's probably in part to the fact that most of St. Louis hates Ali Marmol. But that'll be a fun series at Fenway. Red Sox finally got some wins going, even though they're 2-4. So they should be able to get back on track. Garrett Crochet with a shutout, and he's one of those guys who got paid this week. And Rafael Devers, after starting off, I think it was 0-for-15 with 8 million strikeouts, he finally got his first hits on Thursday. So we'll see the team, these guys getting back towards the mean. Dodgers and Phillies, best series of the weekend. Orioles play at the Royals, Rays at the Rangers. Both teams are off to strong starts there. And the Astros at the Twins. My Yankees will play at Pittsburgh and get to avoid Paul Skeens. So regardless of what happens against the Diamondbacks in Thursday's series finale.
Why are they your Yankees? I want to know that.
Well, because as a child, I had a choice of the Yankees or the Mets. And all of us in elementary schools, basically, we go into packs based on those choices. And despite the fact that I grew up in Queens, I was always a Yankees fan. And my pitching staff was comprised of guys like Andy Hawkins and Dave LaPointe and Pascual Perez and George Steinbrenner making ridiculous decisions. So I am not a front runner. I actually didn't get to see the Yankees win a World Series until 1996. So for the first 18 years of my life, we were not very good. But
that's funny. I didn't know you were from New York. In 1951, which I'm a lot older than you, of course, 1951, long before you were born.
27 years before.
My family, pardon me?
27 years before I was born.
Oh my. You really had to say that. So we moved from Pennsylvania to New York, lived on Long Island. I was a huge Yankee fan. Mantle, Maris, Berra, Skowron, the Richardson, all that. I was just a big Yankee fan, monster. I watched or listened to every game. I got skipped school a lot, got a lot of trouble for that, to get in there and go to the games and sneak in and all that. But yeah, I was a big Yankee fan. I'm not a fan of anything now. I'm a fan of what I bet on.
Sure.
And that's it. So, but the game's totally changed, of course, in those days. But my favorite series this weekend is the Dodgers and Phillies. I'm actually going to do, I guess I'm going to jump ahead here. I'm
No,
going to bet.
this is it.
I'm gonna bet the Phillies.
We're to the point in the show where we are now making some picks, series prices, and individual games. So this is Jim Feist's pick. He is going with the Phillies and Dodgers series.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to pick the Phillies to win the series, but I'm going to pick the Phillies to win a game. And because they're playing the Dodgers, I don't think the prices will be too bad. Phillies are a damn good baseball team, and the Dodgers obviously are a great baseball team, but they're not going to win every game. They're not going to be 162-0. But I'm going to take the Phillies. I'm going to bet them in the first game. And this is one of the things, it's just a rollover bet. Bet $50 on the Phillies. If you win, you quit. If you don't, go to the next game, do the same thing. And then the third. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They're going to win one game. And if you do it right, you're going to come out. And if you get the one game, you have to come out with a profit. So that's all I'm doing in this sport, any sport. I don't care whether my record is 36-70 or 70-36, as long as the end of the day, the bankroll is higher than it was when I started, because we're in the business to make money, not necessarily just pick winners, but make money. So that's why when you bet two dogs, you take 130 and 140 and you split, you made a profit. That's the whole idea. And with a long season, believe me, if you're making $50 a day for the whole season, you've made a lot of money. It's only $50, but it adds up.
And that first game is Jesus Luzardo against Yoshi Yamamoto. And Luzardo actually debuted for the Phillies with double-digit Ks. So, and Phillies are 4-1. But you're absolutely right, because the Dodgers have started the way they have. I think that will probably be Dodgers' slight favorite, maybe a pick 'em, but I doubt it. So you can certainly take your advice on that and look for a home dog-ish situation with a very good team.
I was listening to Mike Palm, the Circa does a great job down there. He was talking about, he said he can't make the line high enough. Everybody bets the Dodgers every day. I mean, eventually that's going to wear out. It's not going to work. Right now it's working because they haven't lost.
Well, they're expected to win 106 games. So yes, they will be favored. Well,
yeah, and they're not playing the dog shit team here. Philadelphia can play. They're good.
I haven't seen any numbers. I would say the Dodgers are probably going to be minus 130.
You can't make them an underdog. That's for sure.
No, not yet.
No.
Only games that you can make the Dodgers an underdog this season, I would think, are at San Diego. Because that's a rivalry. San Diego always plays them tough, although the Dodgers ran that last year. And the way if the Padres get healthy right now, they're without Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish, two of their better starters, and they're still rolling and have great pitching. Michael King looks great. But if you go into a series, you avoid two of the Dodgers behemoths on the mound. I could see San Diego being favored in maybe 2 out of the 3 games, but that's really it. I mean, you could probably count on LA being a favorite in 145 plus games this season, legitimately.
Probably a good number, yeah, at least, yeah.
So I will go series-wise. I'll take a shot with the A's at the Rockies. A's haven't looked great, obviously. Gave up a ton of runs to the Cubs in Sacramento, but they're the Nomads. They've got no home. I don't think it matters where they play. They've got some talent, and Colorado looks absolutely dreadful. Kyle Freeland has actually pitched well. Their ace.
He has. He really has. Yes.
And they still haven't won with him on the mound. The bats have been Colorado's saving grace for years, and they don't have many of them. Brendan Doyle is pretty good, and there isn't much else behind him. We'll see what some of these kids do and when they bring them up, but it's going to be another long season in Denver. So taking a shot there with the A's for the series. And for our individual game, let's go all the way fast forward to Sunday night, where we're looking for something to do and make some money on. All the basketball probably done, at least on the college level, and be able to still have some stuff. And by the way, we talk about NBA on Wednesdays on our flagship show, but the playoffs are around the corner, and basketball games are intensifying, and it's going to be a great little finish here over the next couple of weeks as teams jockey for position. And then obviously the play-in round, the NBA releases schedule. I believe it starts middle of the month with the 7-8 games to see which teams get to the number 7 seed, and then the 9-10s play the next night, and then on a Friday night, I believe it's the 16th, maybe the 17th, the final play-ins will be played, and then the playoffs will start in full swing. So looking forward to the NBA. WNBA season starts in May. But as far as baseball, and this weekend, we're going to go with the Cardinals and the Red Sox going over on Sunday Night Baseball. That series finale, an interleague tilt between Miles Michaelis and Sean Newcomb. I don't think much of either guy. So hopefully the bats are in play. It's always fun to see a softball contest break out on a Sunday night. Maybe you can go to bed early in the 7th with the total safely secured. So that's my play over Boston and the St. Louis Cardinals on Sunday night.
I want to ask a question. The Cubs just won 3 games in Sacramento.
Correct. They dug out of their hole that they dug, the 0-2 hole in Japan.
Right. Well, I mean, now they're playing the Padres, who are obviously pretty good.
Right.
But they got the benefit of playing the A's, which are not. It's not a very good team in a very unusual setting. Do you take away from a team that played a soft and now come home and play their first game, and something like that? Because a lot of people talk about that. I mean, they're coming back home. They got to deal with the family and all the moving and the travel and all that. And they just played 3 soft games. They got away with it. They won them. But the Padres are damn good. I mean, quality-wise.
I would say this. Maybe I wouldn't touch a series bet, and I would look towards them this weekend, because I do not like, even though the situation you described is something that we as handicappers and bettors look at as a staple. You got a team coming off a road trip, getting back home, getting affairs settled, and then boom, you got to play a game. In this particular instance, it's the Cubs on opening day, afternoon game, and the pitching matchup favors them because it's Shota Imanaga, who has got an 0.82 ERA through his 11 innings, even pitched well against the Dodgers, against Vasquez, who's probably the weak link in the Padres rotation at this point. So from that standpoint, I would say, like the Cubs there, but certainly I think San Diego was the better team. But the way the Cubs, and we'll see if this is all true, because they did get the Sacramento boost, but Kyle Tucker hitting the ball well. Seiya Suzuki had a monster series. They got Ian Happ at the top of the order. The guy that hit for the cycle, the catcher from the Diamondbacks, I forget his name right now, Carson Kelly. And so they've got a lot of guys really cooking at the moment. So that'll be a really fun series, Padres and Cubs.
Now we have I don't want to, I do this. I get off script a lot, but that's just when my brain works. We do have the women's college basketball starting tomorrow, Friday. We're not back on again till Monday. So that's you and I, our show, the baseball betting jam. And then the Final Four for the men are on Saturday, and then we go over to the championship games. I mean, do you want to mention anything about that? I mean, we did talk a little bit about before the show, and I know we're in the information business. And
sure.
I mean, I like this. I think you said it. South Carolina's not playing like they did a year ago. They're not the same kind of team. They're playing Texas. Right. I lean to the game under. That's where I'm putting my money. And then on the other game, I don't know how you can stop UConn right now. They're just on a roll. Paige is out of her mind. We know the history of the coach. I mean, they're my two sides. And then the other side, the Final Four, I'm giving away stuff, but that's what we do. If
you're in now 30 something minutes to this, these are your treats for sticking with us. So,
it's like when I take my dog for a walk, he's always taking his paw or his nose. He's hitting the treat bag. He always wants a treat. So I'm giving treats out. I'm getting both unders in the Final Four because I like the first one. I like Houston under anyway because of their defense. Cooper Flagg is a monster, but he's not the only weapon they have. But the other game, I would not be betting it under if it weren't for the question about the star that a Broom, and it's because I don't know what the hell is going to happen with him. But if
Right.
the one thing I know he'll be on the floor if he's playing with one arm. He's going to be on the floor. He's going to at least protect the rim. Now, I don't know if he can play offense with one arm, but I know he can play defense with it. So I'm looking at both games under.
Yeah, look, I think we'll know a little more closer to tip, but we talked about this on Wednesday's flagship show here, Proline TV, that this is the perfect game. It's perfectly suited for in-game betting. Let's take a look at how Janai Broom really looks, because it absolutely does not behoove or benefit Bruce Pearl in any way to drop any hints on whether, oh, I think he's looking great. Poker face from Bruce Pearl, and Bruce Pearl is a smart guy, hell of a basketball coach. So I don't think we will legitimately know Janai Broom's his availability. I fully expect him to play. How effective he will be, I don't think we will get to see that until we're about 5 minutes into the game.
That's about right. No, you're right, 100% right. In-game betting is absolutely a must for this. I mean, sign up if you know. Make sure you watch our shows each week, subscribe to it, like it. It helps our ratings and everything. And make sure you sign up with somebody. If you're playing, I'm not trying to encourage you to do anything you don't want to do, but make sure you get in-game possibilities, because there's a lot of value. And when I took I bought the game from 5.5 to 6 with Michigan State. So I pushed that. I don't know how the hell I pushed it, but I pushed it. But during the game, when they were so far down, the line was 13.5. Now I'm taking 13.5 on something I took 6. Well, obviously I won that and pushed the others. So I was very lucky to get that situation. But you can do that. And you can do it in baseball. You can do it in everything. And we got the WNBA coming up at the end of next month. And Tony and I, even though Greg doesn't want to hear this, Tony and I like the WNBA because it made us money. So
I think, considering that I have bet on Korean and Japanese baseball as a necessity, I love betting on women's basketball. I enjoy watching it. To talk a little more about this women's Final Four, you have a South Carolina team that went 38-0 last year and has already lost 3 times, but they do have talent. They've got Wiley and Pow Pow at guards. If you haven't watched them, they're really fun to watch. Betts in the middle for UCLA is the best big in the country. And
how tall is she?
She looks about 6'8", 6'7", 6'8". I'm not sure what she's listed at. But that'll be a handful for UConn. I know you are leaning towards unders in both games. Can't talk you off that.
Well, actually, in the women's, I'm actually leaning to under in the South Carolina game, but I'm betting UConn in the other one.
Okay, so my bad then. But I mean, I would bet the under then in UConn, UCLA. I think they'll do a better job than anybody has done on Paige Beckers. Why the hell would you leave Paige Beckers open and not run two at her?
No, she's like automatic now. It's unbelievable.
You let her get in a flow. I mean, she's been doing this for quite some time. So from that's going to be really fun to watch. We'll see. I think Texas will give South Carolina a run again. This is not a typical Dawn Staley team, because Dawn Staley would wear teams out. And yes, I mean, if you put Tony Mejia, Sporting News, South Carolina, I went in depth on Dawn Staley last year. And the Gamecocks team that went undefeated. So I know what I'm talking about here regarding her personnel. She would wear you down by going 10 deep. And this year she can't do that because they're not as deep. So they are certainly vulnerable. And I want to see South Carolina and UConn in the final. UCLA, though, very formidable because of Betts. Jaime Jaquez from the Heat, his little sister, Gabriella, is on that team. She actually hit the big three-pointer to send them to the Final Four. And she can play. And her and him are the only 2 siblings ever to reach the Sweet 16 together. Now they're both Final Four participants. So that's awesome. Good stuff. We'll be talking a lot of women's basketball, obviously baseball on this show, and going forward, we'll get you set for gambling. Jim, you got any parting thoughts?
I think my dog just gave us a parting thought. You can hear him in the background.
Very good. He's telling you to take some dogs this weekend, and that's always a good idea.
Absolutely. That's the only thing he allows me to bet is dogs.
We know Mark Lawrence's philosophy on that. And if you're watching Proline TV, you're reaping the benefits of guys like Jim Feist, Mark Lawrence, Andy Isco. I'll fit in there. I'm with a lot of expertise. I've been doing this for a while too, even though I don't look it. And so hope that you like and subscribe.
You trying to say I look old? Is that what you just said?
I'm just saying I look better than you. You're still distinguished and good looking, man. So please follow, subscribe, tell a friend, all of that. If you want to sponsor, reach out and we'll take your money, and we'll hope to make you some money if you are just watching. So again, thank you for watching. This is the Baseball Betting Jam on Proline TV. We'll catch you next week. Appreciate it. Take care.